From the static behind the screen, a whisper emerges. It's not a glitch. It's not fiction. It's a reflection. Black Mirror, especially its darkest episode, one that feels less like a warning and more like prophecy. What if that episode didn't just predict our future? What if it knew it already? Tonight, I invite you to look behind the curtain, to watch what isn't being shown and ask, what if this story wasn't a story? The episode is called Smithereens. It aired in 2019, directed by James Hawes, written by the channel's recurring architects, Charlie Brooker and Annabelle Jones. On the surface, it's a tense hostage drama. Chris, a grief-haunted rideshare driver, kidnaps an employee from the fictional tech giant Smithereen, hoping to get FaceTime with the app's CEO. He wants attention, he wants meaning, he wants a breakthrough. But beneath the escalating tension lies something far more disturbing. A mirror held up to our fractured digital society, the one that reflects more than we want to see. To understand why this episode feels prophetic, we need context. Over the last decade, our relationship with tech has changed. We've gone from convenience to addiction, from freedom to surveillance, from individuality to data points. Apps don't just organize our lives anymore, they control them. We scroll for validation, we swipe for purpose, we surrender for community, but there's a cost, and Smithereens holds it up like a trophy. The key sequence is not the kidnapping, it's the conversation. In a dark hotel room, Chris presses a loaded phone to the CEO's ear. On the other side, you hear nothing but silence. Except, layered beneath is a faint crowd, a traffic jam, a construction site, and whispers. He says, "Why isn't anyone listening?" She says, "What do you expect me to say?" He says, "I was someone before. I just want to be someone again." It's not just a dialogue, it's a confession. It's a fracture drawn between those who build the platforms and those who are built by them. But here's where it gets chilling. Because after the episode aired, real-world parallels began to emerge. In 2020, a rideshare driver used his own car as a weapon, wanting attention, wanting to be heard. In 2021, a tech engineer from a major platform walked into his workplace with a shotgun, claiming burnout and ethical collapse. The narrative went from screen to streets, and the more we look, the more lines blur. Because in Smithereens, silence speaks louder than words. Corporate control is the unseen puppeteer, and human desperation becomes the punch in the face of the tech industry. But the computer knows more, because there's something most viewers missed. The episode is loaded with visual clues hinting at internal oversight, as if Smithereen isn't fictional. In one room, a poster reads, "Session 47, exit if you are being recorded." In the sound mix, there's a tiny beep after every scene, a hidden signifier like a meta cue. The CEO's car has cameras, not for her safety, for someone else's. It's surveillance, layered in plain sight. It's not just about what's said. It's about what's being captured, recorded, and used. Then there's the soundtrack. Soft piano swells punctuated by harsh synth stabs. It mirrors the conflict between authenticity and manipulation. The visuals echo this. When Chris enters the hotel, the lights flicker. Every reflection in the elevator becomes a distortion. Every glass pane fractures his face, multiplies him. He's no longer a single driver with a story. He's every lost soul we've ever mattered to no one. And the show makes it corporately visible, while the CEO remains behind a tinted window. Notice the pacing. It's slow, it's quiet, it breathes discomfort. It drags moments long enough to let you feel every scroll, every notification, every ignored alert in your life. It holds that tension, and it doesn't release it. In real life, we chase that release. We binge content. We need dopamine. But Smithereens doesn't let us relax. It watches us, chastises us, and doesn't care that we might just walk away. Let's switch perspective. Imagine you're one of the executives at a real tech giant. You watch the episode, you see your own reflection, the anger, the breakdown, the hostage. How would you react? Would you blame the driver, the system, yourself? Or would you simply push Smithereens into the fiction folder, comfortable in the knowledge that you're not there yet? But people are there. What happened in Atlanta in 2020 wasn't far from Chris's story. All it took was grief, frustration, unmet expectations. In interviews, real drivers say they feel invisible, dehumanized, replaced, their lives tracked, their compensation algorithm timed, their faces only ever a thumbnail. That's not screenwriting, that's documentation. Back to the episode. There's one more detail, subtle and chilling. Chris's phone never leaves his hand. He's both hostage and hostage taker. On that phone, live streaming, 1,000 eyes watching, but nobody listening. The message is clear. We're always surveilled, always recorded, but we're not heard. We're data. We're numbers. And when the system ditches us, we snap. Suddenly that phone is no longer a tool for connection. It's a weapon. And that's where fiction becomes ossified. Because Smithereens isn't just predicting, it's warning. It's saying, he's one of you, him or me. The lines are thin. Creators, executives, drivers, users. We all are complicit. How deep does the show go? Darker still? In a flash scene, milliseconds, you'll notice numbers bleeding into police footage, timestamps, GPS overlays. In another frame, a profile pic of a user shows them with white text instead of blue. It's subtle, unnoticed unless you freeze it. There's a hidden code there, a glitch disguised as oversight. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. This is why the episode feels prophetic, not because it guessed what would happen in 2020, but because the writers understood the structural fault lines. They saw the algorithmic inequality, the emotional erosion, the rise of violence as communication, and they packaged it into a hostage scenario. But it's not just a scenario, it's premonition. Chris dies at the end. He walks into oncoming traffic, phone raised, body flattened. It's the epitome of digital despair, all for a moment of human connection, to feel seen, to be significant, to be heard. There was no ransom demand, no manifesto, just recognition. In death, he finds relevance. After the episode, petitions grew to better regulate gig economy labor. Tech CEOs faced Senate hearings. Algorithms were examined. We reacted as a society, fiction pushing policy. But since then, we moved on. But did we learn anything? Or are we sleepwalking? If Black Mirror's darkest hour feels like a script we're living, then the question becomes, are we characters? Or are we the writers? Because once you accept that we are the story, you start to edit differently. You disconnect your phone, you question your scroll, you feel the silence behind every beep, and in that silence, you realize how loud you've become. So yes, this isn't just fiction. It's a trigger warning. It's a mirror shattered into exactly how many pieces? 2 billion, 25 million. But tonight, take a step back. Turn off the screen. Ask, who's directing this scene? And are you on script? Because the next scene, that one, could be real. Stay aware, stay sharp. And remember, some mirrors don't reflect, they reveal.